The works of mercy are undoubtedly the surest and most effective and most personal way of bringing Jesus to others. As a matter of fact, it is actually living the gospel by doing. Is what Jesus asks us to do, and this is what Jesus did himself. Now, when we think of the works of mercy, we often think of feeding the hungry and giving drink to the thirsty, housing the homeless. We're all aware that visiting the imprisoned is one of them, but how often do we really get to do that? It's perhaps one of the most effective ways of bringing Jesus to somebody who really wants to encounter him through you. Jesus himself, as you know, reached out to those who were most on the margins of society. And maybe some of you have even thought, as I did, that going to a prison is like going to see a leper colony. Well, in many ways, the prisoners are like modern-day lepers. Not because of the social stigma, which of course they'll always bear because of their status, but because of the loneliness, the isolation that so many of them feel. You bring Jesus' presence. Now you may wonder how. What am I going to talk about? They know that you're there because you care. They know that you're taking the time to spend with them. That in itself is an affirmation of the value of their lives. The conversations that go on, well, I'll let some of our wonderful volunteers tell you a little bit about that. It might surprise you. Often they're quite casual, but occasionally some very, very important experiences take place. You may leave feeling converted in some way. The transforming power of God's grace comes through encounters like this. Whenever we reach deeply into our hearts to share them with others, that human encounter is where Jesus is most present. And you, like myself, may find your own heart transformed. I find being a part of the REC program, Residents Encounter Christ, I find this being a transformative experience, not only for those I've been privileged to be able to share my presence and priesthood with, but also for me, transformed by the power of God's love through them.
I love it. Well, I don't know that I want much more than that. That's really good.
You can, and if you want to add me anything specific, and then just whittle it down, whatever you want to do.
So,
that was good.
yeah, it was really good. So the way we did it the last time is we had an intro part, and then we had a part at the end. And I'm just thinking, do we need to ask for kind of a closing? So we'll show your introduction and then the interviews with the people, and then sort of a closing.
Okay.
So so let me ask you a couple of things. Maybe this would be good for
Then I can,
so why would someone want to participate or try out prison ministry?
Because it's so needed. It's so needed, and we're called to reach out to the...
Excuse me, could you restate the question as you say it?
I will do that. Do it again.
Yes. So why would somebody want to participate or try out prison ministry?
Why would somebody want to participate or try out prison ministry? It's a good question. I myself often felt that this was something I would like to do, but I didn't know how to. I would like to do it because I know that Jesus asks us to do this.
Could you say?
Somebody might, okay, so I know what it is.
No,
Instead
tell
of
me.
asking the question, it's, you should consider participating or trying out prison ministry because...
Oh, I understand.
Right, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Yep. But I think it's perfect where you're
I
going
understand
on
what you're
that.
saying.
Yep.
You should start again. You should consider trying out prison ministry for the very reason that it is the best opportunity to reach out to one who is most distant from the presence of Christ. The alienation, let me start all over again, because I don't want to say they are, because a lot of them are very holy people. I've met some people in prison ministry that have grown already. And, okay, I'll start again. Why should you consider trying out prison ministry? Well, partly because it's part of the works of mercy that Jesus encourages us to do. He knows that by engaging the prisoners, it gives him an avenue to change them and to change you, and to bring out something inside of you and inside of the person that you visit, the resident that you visit, that you may be surprised is there. It's a way of encountering Jesus himself. And it's also a way for Jesus, through the person you meet with, encountering you.
Okay. So I'm going to challenge you to do it in one sentence.
I'll do it in one sentence.
One or two maybe.
I'll do it.
So what would be like if you should try out prison ministry because.
Okay.
You should give it a try.
Or trying out ministry
I'll do
does this.
Yeah. Take your time if you want to think about it.
I would invite you to try out prison ministry, and I think you'll find what I found myself. You'll find that you'll be surprised by God's presence in that encounter with the prisoner. You may even find your life transformed. I felt my own heart moved, and I'm not the same person because of those encounters. I invite you to do the same.
I like it.
Mhm.
I don't know, I think we're pretty good. Let me just look at my list here. I'll ask you one more question.
Sure.
May or may not make it in, but be interesting to me anyway also.
All right.
So what do you find personally fulfilling about prison ministry? Is there something that you, Bishop Ed, find fulfilling, different than other ministries?
What I find so different about prison ministry is that I'm never quite sure exactly how it's going to turn out, because I don't always know who I'm about to encounter. On the other hand, I always find that somehow or other I receive something that I didn't expect, that I don't receive in any other ministry. I'm often humbled, sometimes by the holiness of some of the people that I've met, because they have had to turn to the Lord. They had no one else. And my ability to be there and to affirm that presence, somehow or other, it makes a connection that is unlike any other ministry. It's the best way I can say it. It's the surprise of it. Every time I go, it's surprising. You meet a new individual, and they'll tell you a story, and they'll ask you something, and you just let the Lord sort of direct what you're going to say. It's the unpredictable element. But it's never been a fearful experience. It's always been a pleasant surprise, a graced surprise. I always feel graced. It's the
Yes.
truth.
I agree. It took me completely by surprise.
It's
I never expected
it's
that
the
I would be
surprise
doing
of it.
Yes.
It's the surprise because
Yes.
we have so many I guess preconceived notion of
Yes.
prisoners. You think them in striped outfits and so forth, and just really to see that they're human beings, albeit broken like all of us in different ways,
Right.
but nonetheless human beings. And Jesus reaches out to both of us through the encounter.
Right.
So